Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Claflin Athletics Show. Edition 3, 3 years we've been doing it. This is your host, Mickey Clayton, with the legendary stand on his own Coach Terrence, they call him T. Jenkins from the women's basketball team. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Always. We can't cover Claflin sports and not have one of the hottest programs in there. That women's team, boy, it's just, you operated a little bit under the radar, but the CIAA has already designated y'all as one of the teams to watch.
Yeah, I told the young ladies, we gonna take it. We'll, with some gratitude, but at the same time, we got a lot of work to do. So hey, we was in a different situation years ago where we was voted last, and then we was voted 6, and then we was voted 7. So it's always good to know that the program is in the right direction, but at the same time, know you got a lot of work to do because it's just a prediction.
And I know that's what you told them is preseason, where this isn't where we want to be the end of the season. We want to win it all. So I know you're using it on them.
Absolutely. I told them, hey, number 2 still is not number 1. So we still not good enough. So at the end of the day, it's only going to be one team standing come that Saturday night in Baltimore. So we want to be that last team standing.
Well, before we get all the way into what you have planned this year, tell us a little bit about how it ended for you last season.
Well, of course, we came off to a slow start, and then the team got it going. The juniors kind of, stepped up and say, hey, we're going to get this thing back on track. And so, we was able to run off a couple games. Then we hit a little stumping block against Fayetteville. Then we was able to get it back on the road. And then once we got it going, the young ladies kind of, felt like they couldn't be beaten. And so at the end of the year, we had a chance. We was tied for first place. We had Fayetteville, the reigning champions, on our floor. We had them up 3 with probably a minute and 20, minute and 30 seconds to go. And then, we just let the ball slip out of our hands. And we, unfortunately lost to them. And then we went up to Johnson C. Smith, and we played the game really for second place, and we wound up finishing second. Then we still felt good going in the tournament, going in there. Most coaches always say, you want to be on a winning streak going into the tournament. But at the same time, I just felt good about this team because we was still, in spite of losing those 2 games, we still was in a good place. Mm-hmm. And so we was able to go up there and get a first round bye and able to beat Shaw. As we already know, Coach, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. Mm-hmm. So, it was kind of tough, going into the game, trying to let the young ladies understand. It's going to be tough beating them 3 times, but we was able to do it. And then going into playing the reigning champions, Elizabeth City, and then they was able to get us again, man. So at the end of the day, I told them at the press conference, just remember this feeling. We'll be back. And so we plan on coming back, stronger than ever.
But, Coach, I saw a lot of those games you're speaking of, and I saw the determination on your team and how determined they were. And I remember being there and early in the season, homecoming, and somebody made the comment. They said, teams he's had in the past would have died already, but this team not quitting them. They continuing to fight. And they told me, said, Coach, just watch this team. This is something about them. And they were exactly right about that. They showed a lot of determination. And even though they lost in the CIAA, they lost to a good team that they didn't back up off of.
Absolutely. And, even driving to this interview today, I was thinking about that. I'm having flashbacks, and that, thinking about that beginning of the season, we was 3-6, 3-7 on winter break. I think it was 3-7, and going home. And I told the young ladies, when you go home and you eating that Christmas dinner, don't shy away. 3-7 is 3-7. That's just own it, because we know it's gonna get better. I say, when your uncle, your auntie asks you, how it's going, what's y'all record? Say 3-7. Say we're authority. But at the end of the day, we won't finish on the bottom. So, the young ladies took it, and we came back stronger than ever.
Well, Coach, who are you losing from last year's team?
Last year team, we losing 2 starters. Young ladies that was in the program at least 3 to 4 years, man. And so it's always tough to replace familiarity. Those young ladies was used to the Claflin way, the Claflin standard, our women's basketball standard. You're talking about Destiny Coleman from Columbia, South Carolina, and Lauren Scott, who's from Columbia, South Carolina as well. Destiny Coleman has exhausted eligibility. So, that was her last ride. But Lauren Scott, very intelligent young lady. She graduated here with her degree and, was able to get a Division I offer to High Point. And so she moved on to High Point. She was our leading scorer, was the, I think, second or third leading scorer in the conference. So we lost some familiarity and some experience, but at the same time, I feel good about the young ladies that we have stepping up in their places.
Coach, quiet as it's kept, I thought they would come hunting Lauren. I really did. She had played so well, and I had a feeling that they were going to hunt her. I was hopeful that you would be able to keep her.
Absolutely.
But I know you wish her the best.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, tell us about some of the young ladies that you have that are new to your program.
New to the program, we have Alexa. She's coming from Appalachian State. She's from Charleston, South Carolina. So she's a South Carolina native. She's used to the HBCUs. She's been around, on the recruiting trail. So she knows she wanted to come back home. And so we brought Alexa back home. She has 2 years of eligibility. And we brought 3 freshmen in who we're really, really high on. We definitely brought Olivia Randolph from Anderson, South Carolina. She's a exceptional 2-time athlete, 2-way athlete. She plays volleyball and basketball. And so if she wasn't winning the championship in basketball, she was winning the championship in volleyball. So we brought a winner in her. We brought Takoya Hayward, who's also from South Carolina, Bluffton, South Carolina, who had an outstanding career for in Bluffton. And so we are excited to have her. She gives us a lot of size on the wing at 5'10", 5'11". And then we have Trinity. We have Trinity from Allendale, South Carolina, who is a big bruiser in the middle. So she's out right now with a foot injury, but we're expecting her back in another week or 2 to get back in the swing of things.
And that's what I was going to ask you, if you got any size in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Olivia is standing probably 6 foot, 6'1", and then Trinity is probably sitting probably 5'11", scratching right at 6 feet. And then we have, like I said, Takoya, big wing, and so she's probably 5'10", 5'11", very active on the wing. We just trying to build her confidence with her jump shot, but she's going to be a really force in the coming years.
Okay, Coach, what did you learn last year through your trials and tribulations that's helping you prepare or help you prepare in this off season to get ready for this season?
Biggest key, great question. Biggest key, I gotta trust my bench a little more. A little more. I just felt like last year I didn't do a real good job of, putting those young ladies out there a whole lot more, because hell, they was just as good as our starters, and that was the fortunate thing that we had here at Claflin. Was I felt like if one of my stars got in foul trouble, I was able to bring, Mila Lee or Janelle Sample off the bench, and we wouldn't lose nothing. Destiny, a transfer that came in, gave us great minutes off the bench. And so, biggest key is probably using my bench a whole lot more and trusting them a whole lot more.
Okay, what happened to you to make you realize that you needed to make that adjustment, Coach? I know you do a lot of self-analysis, but what made you come to that conclusion that you needed to do that?
Just watching a lot of film and just understanding the game a whole lot more, because, at the end of the day, I was an assistant coach for over 17 years. And so it was my second go around as a head coach. And I always tell people, don't judge the seat unless you sat in it. And so me
Mm.
sitting in the seat now, understanding, just like you say, just evaluate myself, self-evaluation, and just looking at the minutes that the starters played, especially at the guard spot. They played a lot of minutes, and that was a lot of wear and tear on your body. And where I had just as much production coming off the bench, I didn't do a good job of just, putting them out there so they can be successful as well.
Okay, so your thought pattern now is the regular season is important, but you want to make sure they're ready for the CIAA.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gotta make that last run. The biggest thing is I told the young ladies, CIAA is something that we supposed to chase that every year, to win that every year, because we're a part of that. And you want to dominate your space. But the biggest key is we want to be nationally known. Just like we nationally known academically, we want to be on that same standard athletically.
Okay, coach. So what have you done? It looked like you've done some camps and other things during the summer, which I know that pays dividends for you in the long run, just to be able to be involved with the community and the young student athletes. Tell us about that.
Again, camp is always, it's a lot of work, but at the same time, it's a lot of fun. And you get to engage in some of the young ladies that you saw on the AAU circuit. So it gives them a chance to kind of come to your campus and kind of see what you have to offer and just engage with the other young ladies. And one thing great question again. One thing I will talk about is my young ladies over the summer. Probably all of them came back to camp over the summer. And that's unheard of.
Mm.
Like they came back and got involved. And I told them, like, even the new recruits, Olivia, um, Trinity, and Takoya, they came and also was involved in camp. It was like, Coach, do we have to come back to camp? I'm like, no, you really don't, because I don't want force them to come back to camp, gas money and all that good stuff. But they was engaged, and I kind of knew, like, okay, I got a special group coming back, and just to have those young ladies involved with camp with the new recruits kind of saw, like, man, it's like a family. And always is one of our sayings in our program is, you come here as teammates and you leave here as sisters. And it's big, here in our program. And so biggest key is those camps that we had. We like to do one at the beginning, and then we like to do one at the end once the young ladies get back to campus. And so we did a really good job with that. Coach Mike and the rest of our staff did a good job in engaging our recruits and getting people on campus. And we probably had the biggest camp that we had since I've
Mm.
been on the women's side. We had almost close to 60 kids fill out the application. And probably we had close to almost 50 kids show up for camp. So it was an outstanding turnout for camp.
Man, that's great. And I know, coach, that you're about achievement, but explain to me, was it intentional, the number of student athletes that you were able to secure from South Carolina to come in for you this year?
Absolutely. We always want to bring home the home base. I know recruiting has become worldwide and internationally, but at the same time, you got to take care of home. It's young ladies right here in our backyard. And South Carolina has a great pedigree of women's basketball right here in our backyard. And so we understand, like, some of the young ladies want to leave and sometimes they want to come back, later on in their career. But at the end of the day, we always want to take care of home, try to bring those home communities, from the upper state or the low country of South Carolina, so we can feel the Coliseum every day, every game. We don't, we understand, we got kids from all over on our roster, but at the same time, we want to get some of these local kids here at Claflin. And I will say about the young ladies that we have that's from South Carolina, they're not only strong athletically, they are also strong academically as well.
Well, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Claflin's an academic institution. So you have to recruit students that are able to handle it academically. But tell us about some of that academic success that your young ladies had last year. I know as coaches, we're very proud of what we do athletically, but even more so what they've done in the classroom. Tell everybody about those.
Man, we got some young ladies. I'll tell you a quick story. When I came over to the women's program, it was almost at winter break, And so I received the grades from my academic advisor, and I saw, all the young ladies with 3.5, 3.8, 3.9. And then I turned to Coach Mike, who's my assistant, and said, man, these girls are very sound in the classroom, and so we gotta get that same standard on the playing field. And so at the same time, we had to, tell the young ladies, keep up the good work in the classroom because you can't have one without the other. No books, no ball. And so the young ladies doing a good job. And I challenge them all the time to say, hey, you're not only gonna compete on the playing on the court, you gotta compete in that classroom. You gotta look that instructor in the eyes and say, hey, I understand that you have a tough class, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna pass this class. So at the end of the day, I always keep them engaged and competing in everything that they do. And they not only compete on the court, they compete in the classroom and in life. You gotta compete to win.
Well, Coach, I'm going to ask a question. With the ladies' intellect that you have, with those outstanding grade point averages, do you see or does it allow you an opportunity to run things a little bit more complex because they have the ability to pick it up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that really makes my job easy
Mm-hmm.
where, I'm able to put stuff in on the fly, making adjustments on the fly. And they understand, like, hey, they understand our lingo and understand what we're trying to do. And so, I always tell them, hey, we got to execute out of a timeout. And so I can draw up something real quick. And with their intellect off the court in the classroom, it carries over because that's the same person. I tell them all the time, it don't change. You gotta be intelligent in the classroom, in life, and that same person needs to translate on the court, and then do a good job of picking up stuff on the fly. So that's definitely a big attribute that the young ladies have.
Okay, I was just wondering, Coach. I was hopeful that there was a carryover.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me this, Coach, as you're getting closer, with Midnight Madness tonight, when this comes on televised, you will have had the Midnight Madness already because it's tonight on Tuesday while we're doing this interview.
Mhm.
But as you move forward, what are your expectations of this team? What are your expectations?
Mm. We talked about it this morning. We had a workout this morning because of Midnight Madness. Unfortunately, we're not able to go in this afternoon, but we got to work in this morning at 6:15, and I simply told them, our biggest goals this year is win. Right now, it's Claflin versus Claflin. Right now, you know, we still prepare. Even though it's jump ball in about 2 to 3 weeks, we still fine tuning this machine that we're gonna have going this 24-25 season. And so in a couple of weeks, we'll take it to the next level, getting ready for our non-conference. We gotta win the non-conference. That's definitely a goal. It's go 500 and win. Of course, every coach won't win every game, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to lose to win. Sometimes, but we try to definitely go 500 with the non-conference schedule, and then once we get into the West, I mean the Northern Division where we struggled last year. We went 1-5 against the Northern Division last year. So this year we definitely want to take care of the Northern Division and then win games at home. We didn't do a good job of winning games at home last season. Of course, you mentioned earlier about losing homecoming. You always want to win homecoming, always want to win your rivalry. We split last year, but we want to do a clean sweep. So you always want to win games at home and definitely dominate the South home division. And so that's our biggest key is win the non-conference. You know, definitely win the Northern Division, and then close it out by winning the Southern Division, and then going into the tournament on a high horse and be ready to take down, cut down those nets in Baltimore come March.
Well, two things. One, I noticed that you have outstanding support at the CIAA tournament, but it seems like your home crowd are even more vocal, supportive, and boisterous than what they've been in the past. Coach, tell me what that means to your team and to you to have that home crowd as vocal and as crazy as they can be in the jungle.
Uh, Coach, you must was in practice this morning. I just talked to them about fan engagement, community engagement just more. And the group that we brought in last year did a really, really good job. The freshmen and the transfers, and then the returners, we kind of got them in the mode as well. You know, you'll find that young people don't like to communicate a lot with people outside their, their norm. And so I challenge the young ladies to talk to the regular students. That's who really gonna support us. And
Right.
so I will say they did a really good job of just engaging in the calf or kickbacks or whatever they love to do in their free time. They did a really good job of engaging the regular students who they go to class with every single day. And that carry over into the jungle. I know you come to a game, every year you kind of see that jungle gets wild sometimes. And so that comes from the young ladies and the young men just engaging to the regular academic students every single day. Even though they're student athletes, they have to talk to the students, the regular students that really gonna support us and make this a real home field advantage. And we did a really good job of just taking care of making sure that the students came in not only for the men's game but came in for our game as well. Because I told them, people want to be around winners. So we
Right.
have to win for them to come in here and see us play. And so at the end of the day, young ladies started winning some games, and hey, we got a good home field advantage every game.
Yes, you did. And not only that, a number of your students traveled to Baltimore. You had a couple buses go to Baltimore, didn't you?
Absolutely. Doctor does a good job with student engagement. The students travel. He actually take them on take them to like two regular season games throughout the year. And so that's kind of getting them. And that's one thing, moving to the CIAA, that's one thing that we had to improve on. Getting the students engaged and just having that school spirit, that Claflin pride, that branding, Claflin, that orange and maroon. And so that's one thing I will say. We do have a lot of support from the top, from Dr. Womack. He always at the game. He will even sit, you
Right.
know, behind the bench in the presidential seat. He always on the floor. He's always engaged, and he wants the best for the student athletes. And once the student athletes see, they got the support from the top, it's off and running from there. And so they do a good job of just, seeing it come from the president and say, hey,
Personal fouls
let's
in charge to
let's go out
rookie
here and win
guard
ball games.
Jasmine Jeffries. Her
One of
first,
the things I have to
team's
comment on
first.
is your
Into the
student
lineup for the
behavior
Bears is number
at the
0,
CIAA tournament. There was a
Vanilla
lot of people
Carino.
acting a little
Number
crazy, but your
13,
students were just students. They were supportive, loud, but never embarrassingly so. I
Absolutely.
thought that they represented Claflin extremely well, and I thought that Doctor does a real good job of getting them there. What does it mean to your students or your team when they look up and see their students in there with the band and all of that? What does that do for them at the CIAA?
That brings them a lot of joy. And they understand like they're not alone. And that's the biggest key is they have the support. They got the back it. And it's always good to kind of see familiar faces in the stands, not just for home game, but they travel. And like you're not put emphasis on that all the time. Like when you got people following you, that means you're doing something right. So you want to keep that engagement all the time. And so, you always want to say thank you. Always being, kindness is free. And so always tell the fans thank you and tell them, hey, we see you. Hey, we see you. And let them know that we appreciate them. And our young ladies and our student, our department does a good job of letting the staff, faculty and the staff, know that we love the support and want them to continue to support. And so tonight we're looking for a big showing tonight. I told the young ladies, let's have a lot of fun tonight. At the end of the day, it's all about fan engagement, getting them involved, So tonight we're gonna have a lot of fun. I might bust out, a couple moves tonight. Just to, 'cause they like to see that, they like to see coach act a little silly. So I might act a little silly tonight, coach.
All right, don't run people out, Coach.
Okay. I
But
won't.
Coach, as we get ready to wind this up, what would you like to say to your fans, family, and supporters about this upcoming season?
Our biggest key is like I told my team last week. Panther Nation, this is going to be an exceptional year. This is going to be historic year. So you want to come out. We want you all come out, support us. Night in, night out, whether it's on the road or here in Tullis Arena. Come out and support the Panthers. Night in, night out. You will not be disappointed because we want everybody to be involved on this championship run. Historic year. Remember, 2024, 2025. Historical for Claflin University women's and men's basketball.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it straight from the mouth of Coach Jenkins. And as always, we appreciate you having you on as a guest, and we look forward to the next time we can chat.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again. Look to see you soon.
Absolutely.